Hello, everybody, and welcome to Games via Reality, the podcast where we talk about VR news. I'm at Victor Grey on all social media, and across the room from me is Dale, who's at nothing because the government banned him from the internet.
Damn it!
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, I got a bunch of headlines. You want to hear the headlines?
I do.
Here are all the stories we're going to be covering. Links to the stories and time codes are down in the description. Quest 3 leaks have occurred. Details for the long-awaited Quest 3S have been leaked by industry spy Luna. The new device reportedly uses the same chip, color pass-through, and controllers, but will use the Quest 2's Fresnel lenses. You're getting a Quest 3 as soon as this comes out, right?
I just bought the Quest 2, damn it.
Oh, boy. LG and Meta's relationship is on the rocks. The huge project to create an XR headset that rivals the Apple Vision Pro is reportedly on hold. The project is a partnership between manufacturer LG and Meta to create the Quest Pro 2. Korean media reports the relationship has completely broken down, but LG insists they're just controlling their pace.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not me, it's you.
Wait, Quest Pro 2? Was there a Quest Pro? Oh, there was a Quest Pro.
Yeah, that's how...
Oh, okay, sorry, yeah, I'm completely out. Yeah, I remember that happened. It just wasn't sold to any of us.
This is why LG's saying they're slowing down, because nobody remembers the Quest Pro.
Someone's at LG and is like, wait, we're working on this headset?
Well, while LG is cooling off on Meta, Microsoft's getting hot and steamy. They've just announced volumetric apps that allow you to bring 3D apps to the Meta Quest. Details are pretty slim right now for the project, but developers can sign up for early access to the volumetric API.
Great. Excellent.
Hooray! Questcraft has had a huge update, allowing users to play the Java version of Minecraft on the Quest 3, and it's also updated Quest 2. The SideQuest app claims to give users a 120 frames per second experience, but users online have reported some teething problems with the latest release.
I was going to say, I'm glad that they're promising anything, because last time I tried to install the game, it just did not work at all.
120 frames is a big...
At least it's some frames, because I had 0 frames.
That's true. A user on Reddit has reported they somehow found a toggle switch that allows their Quest menu to pin windows to your view. So wherever you look, the menu sort of moves back in front of you, no matter where you look in space.
Interesting.
It's unknown how the user found the feature and whether or not this will be added to future releases of Horizon OS. But it's cool and I want it.
Awesome.
Oculus Go? More like Oculus Gone.
Oh.
Oculus Go users are encountering an error, making it impossible to open up certain apps, and the list is getting quite big for apps, apparently.
Who's playing the Oculus Go right now?
Well, the Oculus Go was a 3DOF headset that Meta released to very little fanfare. Mm-hmm. I think last week we talked about one of the Meta higher-ups said it was a learning experience for them.
Yeah, wow.
But this error, it seems to be an online server-side error, and it looks pretty unlikely that it's going to be resolved. So this could mark the end of the Oculus Go.
No, all 8 people that play it are going to be real mad.
I know. Hey, Apple Vision Pro, your favorite headset to talk about on this podcast, has just won 56 patents for an Apple Vision Pro 2.
If you didn't buy this one, you're probably going to buy the next one.
Trust
I swear, it's going
to
be great.
The next one's going to be great. Demio is coming to the AVP. Okay. Demio is a highly popular VR title, and Apple is well known for having a smaller video game library than other operating systems, so people are excited to see this title come to the platform.
Any game on a Mac is a good game.
Yeah, Solitaire. I was actually thinking about this. Why isn't there VR Solitaire? Because Solitaire on Windows is like the most used program on the operating system, and it has been for decades.
That's a good point.
A new VR system is working on turning us into owls.
Me? You?
Do you want to know more? Should I leave it there?
I guess. Yeah, sure. Leave it there.
The project allows a user to have 360 degrees of vision like an owl while turning their head only the normal 180 degrees. I don't know, how far can you turn your head?
Right now, not a lot. I'm going to be off mic if I do.
Oh, no. That was rough. He just did a Batman turn. He turned his whole hips in order to turn his head. You should see a doctor.
Right? Yeah, I probably should.
Hellblade 2 has released, and modders were quick to add VR support. Users have said the experience is incredibly good.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And hackathon submissions have closed. So MetaQuest Hackathon is this event where people come up with new ideas to use VR and XR and AR.
Cool.
Submissions have closed, and we'll highlight some of the finalists. The winner's going to be announced this week, I think the 31st. Awesome. So
keen to see that.
We'll talk about that. And lastly, researchers have created a VR headset that will be able to create haptic feedback all over the body.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
This is like an extension of the hugging machine, isn't it?
Yep. The device essentially straps an MRI device to your head to manipulate your brain and promises that it's safe to use.
Great. Well, I'm glad they put that promise at the end there because I was real skeptical until that exact moment.
Yeah. And also, we're going to talk about what we're doing in VR. For me, it's Minecraft, and for you, it's Fallout 4 VR. Right?
That's correct.
So we're going to talk about all that and more. Do you remember the first story?
I have completely forgotten. Please refresh me.
It's the Quest 3S leaks.
Ah, nice. Awesome.
Nobody knows what the actual name of the device is, but everyone's calling it the 3S.
Everyone's calling it the 3. The 3S.
I think of the 3 Lite.
Yeah, look, as long as they don't start following the Xbox naming conventions, I'll be fine, because I still can't figure out what the most recent Xbox is. I at least know that the Quest 3 is the most recent one, because the previous one was a 2.
Yeah.
Wait, no, fuck, the previous one was a Pro.
Oh, no, yeah, you're right.
Damn it.
Oh, no.
I lied earlier. I said that I just bought the Quest 2. It feels like I just bought it, but I bought it 12 months ago. When I tried your Quest 3, I didn't feel like it was a big enough leap for me to justify buying an entirely new headset.
Yeah.
So maybe this will sweeten the deal, especially because there's the pass-through on it, right? It's the same as the pass-through from the Quest 3.
Okay, so let's run this through. This is from Android Central. Everybody's talking about this. These leaks have come from Luna, who is, I don't know, some kind of pirate who's always leaking stuff on Twitter.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Mysterious.
So, XR leaker at Lulalila, I don't know how to pronounce their tag, revealed exclusive news about the Meta Quest 3S, codenamed Ventura or Panther. It allegedly uses the same Fresnel lenses and display resolution as the Quest 2.
Okay, that's fine, depending on who you are.
It may share the Quest 3's Snapdragon chip, Touch Plus controllers, and RGB pass-through.
Okay.
Now, for me, the biggest thing that I love about the Quest 3 is, one, the increased resolution, and two, the color pass-through. So it sounds like the resolution won't be quite as good, but it will have the color pass-through, which I mean, you listen to me not on a podcast, I don't shut up about it.
No, you don't. I wish you would. But, right, here's the thing. Some people have shitty eyes. I am one of those people. I've got real bad eyes.
Yes.
So resolution ain't too much of an issue for me, but
you're
colours,
saying we've
big fan of
already
colours.
hit your peak resolution.
That's right. Everything is a, what do they call that? A retina display? Everything's a retina display to these retinas.
Right.
Yeah, so just having that pass through with the color, I think, is a big enough upgrade for me, and I don't really mind about the lack of resolution upgrade.
Yeah,
So-
cool. What about the Fresnel lenses, though? Because you were saying the Index uses Fresnels, and they're absolutely...
There's a lot of God rays. So I think the Vive had Fresnel lenses, and then the Index had slightly, they had lenses that were Fresnel lenses, but they had slightly fewer, notches in them, if you know what I mean, like the little rings that are on the
like the tree age circles.
Yes, and so when light is projected into the headset, they seem to pick up a bit of light, and so that's where you get this God ray effect. When I put on the Quest 2 for the first time, it had it didn't seem to have that effect, and that sold me immediately. So yeah, it's to the point now where I think that the Index is a worse headset, literally just because of the God rays.
Yeah, cool. Well, Luna said they've seen multiple dev kits and spoken to several people familiar with the device. Now, if there's dev kits out, you would think that it's pretty close to a release. It's like 12 months or less away.
You would
from
hope so.
release. You would, well, you would hope. What will get you over the line to buy a Quest 3S? Is it just price for you right now?
Yeah, price, I guess.
The thing is, the Quest 2 is selling like pancakes right now because it's so incredibly cheap.
I think people are worried that the Quest 2 is going to start being phased out of support for either new games that are coming up or even just
and
OS
it won't be
upgrades.
available in stores.
That's right. And you already see this with stuff like iPhones or whatnot, where the previous ones just become worse and worse as new ones come out. So I think people would be a little concerned about that, and that might motivate me to get a new one. But other than that, yeah, I think it's just price.
So if you can get a competitive price compared to the Quest 2, you'll flip over.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be hard for you to sell your Quest 2 for
Yeah,
any
totally.
money.
When everyone's trying to sell them in order to get a new one. My big thing, right? This said that it was coming with well, potentially it's going to come with the Quest 3 controllers. Yeah.
Yes.
Or at least support them.
Yes.
I would be happy to just get the HMD and keep the controllers from the Quest 2.
Yeah, I will say, the old controllers, I don't know, like I can't tell, I'm a big monkey brain, I can't tell the difference between controllers as far as tracking. I'm sure they're much better, but I miss having the rings because they were easy to put on my desk when I put them down.
Every single time I have to like reach for something outside of VR, I grab the other controller with my finger using that ring, and I hold both controllers in my. They're like they're a utility. I used to do the same thing with the Vive.
The first week I had the Quest 3, I kept putting my controller sort of head down like it had the ring,
and
then I'd hear this.
Yeah.
I was like, oh boy.
Totally. That's how I put them on the desk as well.
Hey, do you want to talk about relationship problems?
Not with you.
Oh, what about LG and Meta's relationship problems?
You talked about this last week because LG was making a headset that was supposedly going to burn my fucking eyes out.
Well, it's all related.
It's all connected. All right.
Yeah,
okay.
it's all related. Okay, this is coming from The Verge. I think most people are reporting on this, but Meta and LG's headset partnership is on the rocks. Korean news outlets are saying the partnership is on hold, while LG insists everything is fine. So what is the truth?
LG insisting everything is fine, by the way, in that photo, which is like two Korean executives next to Mark Zuckerberg, makes me real, like, I don't know, I'm reading into that image far too much.
So, I mean, I could read this article, but basically the Quest Pro 2 was due to be released in 2025, and it was going to be LG and Meta working together. I think they announced it 3 months ago that they were working together. It's now come out that they've delayed this release by 2 years.
Oh.
Korean media has reported that the relationship's completely broken down and they're probably not going to work together due to a lack of synergy between the companies.
Interesting.
But LG has denied terminating the deal. They say LG Electronics continues its XR partnership with Meta, forged in February, but is controlling its pace. Now, obviously, last week LG announced their super bright VR headset display with 10,000 nits of brightness and all of that. So it would be great to have that on a Quest Pro 2. But you just said in headlines, you forgot there was a Quest Pro.
I did. So maybe they're looking at that being like, well, man, no one bought this headset. So what are we doing here?
Yeah, a few articles I've read is, you know what, it kind of makes sense for LG to be like, nobody's buying high-priced headsets. Industry headsets just aren't popular.
Enterprise headsets.
Enterprise.
And on that note, they're probably looking at the fact that the Apple Vision Pro just released, which I think is marketed in a kind of similar way to what the Oculus Quest Pro was.
Yeah.
So maybe they're looking at that and looking at the return and being like, probably not, you know? Especially if we're already running the risk of burning out people's corneas.
Yeah. Screw the corneas. Hey, well, LG's relationship bit on the rocks, but Microsoft seems to be leaning into Meta. A few weeks ago, we were talking about Xbox coming to Quest 3. They're going to make a Quest 3 version of their own. And now Microsoft has announced they're bringing Windows volumetric apps to Meta Quest headsets. Now, I know what you're thinking.
Yep.
What are Windows volumetric apps? Am I right?
Are they spatial apps? Or is that different to spatial computing?
Well, nobody knows because it's a made-up word.
Well, fucking made up. I hate this industry. What is it? It's an app that takes place in a volume.
Well,
is that different to the volume that they use in Mandalorian?
So when they made the announcement, they showed someone working on a desktop, working on the 3D design of an Xbox controller, and then they took that design out of the desktop into virtual reality, floating freely in space, like augmented reality style.
Yep, that looks really cool.
Controller came apart. So basically, it just seems like it's like an API that allows programs to create a link between traditional 2D desktop programs and then 3D Quest or whatever headset programs.
And that's a first-party Microsoft API.
That's correct. So Microsoft says devs can sign up for the developer preview today, which will give you access to an unnamed volumetric API. So imagine you're working on Blender, working on a 3D animation, and then you're like, I'd like to have this in my hand so I can look around it a little bit.
I've seen early versions of this where people have wrote their own plugins for Blender that do this. Blender is written in Python, and it's pretty accessible for early coders to make plugins. But it's certainly not accessible to everyone, and it's certainly not accessible outside of Blender. Yep. So I would love to see this in something like the Unreal Engine or like Unity, where like I'm working on a game dev project and I can actually see the map in front of me on the desk. Because then if I'm looking at it in 3D, it gives me a little bit more perspective on stuff like depth or scale.
Yeah. So. Well, the only other thing to mention on this, and Verge covers this as well, is...
It's the anime waifu girlfriend, right? That you're going to have on your desk as you're working in...
Oh, dear. Hey Siri. No, it's Microsoft just shuttered their old virtual reality initiative. What was it? The Windows mixed reality initiative, because Windows was a headset. Remember that when they did VR?
Isn't that interesting how that was called a mixed reality headset, and now that term is completely shifted and changed, no one knows what that means anymore.
Because it got mixed reviews. They're calling this XR for extended reality.
Who are?
They are.
And that's different to the Open XR and then the XR API for the browser thing that you mentioned too. Okay,
it's all made up.
Synergy.
Yeah, but you know what you could make for yourself?
What?
Your own Minecraft world. Questcraft just released their trailer, and it just dropped on SideQuest. A new version of Questcraft, which is compatible with Quest 3 and reportedly Quest 1, but I haven't looked into that.
Oh, nice. Okay.
They claim that it adds 120 frames per second experience, which means that you could also add a few mods onto that, and the mods wouldn't take away.
You've got headroom to add shit in.
Headroom.
Yeah.
This is super cool. I've been waiting to play Minecraft in my Quest 3 for ages.
Yep.
I did boot it up. I personally found it a bit stuttery with all my default settings.
You and I played Vivecraft back in the day on the HTC Vive.
Yes.
And that was a PC VR experience, and it worked very well.
It was fantastic. I spent hours in that.
Was that Java? Was it the Java version?
That's the Java version.
Okay, cool. So apples to apples, you think that the PC VR version kind of worked a bit better?
Oh yeah, hands down, because you have the power of the PC to be able to the distance you can see in Minecraft. The way it works is it renders chunks, which are like basically 20 by 20 meter areas of land.
Yep.
So with this, because it's running on basically a mobile phone, and it's the Java version, which is not Bedrock, it's not optimized.
Sure, it's limited.
You can't see very far.
Yeah.
So when I went into this, I climbed up a hill to get a point of view, and I basically could see to the foot of the hill I was on. I couldn't see out into the distance. My render distance was way too short. It wasn't very helpful.
That's Dale vision. I don't know if you know.
Okay.
Yeah. That's about the distance I can see. I can't see any chunks that are at least like 40 meters away.
Womp.
Yeah.
Me personally, Bedrock Minecraft is so well optimized, and it's on Android.
Yeah.
So theoretically, it would be possible to play Bedrock in VR, and I would love that. It's so much better optimized. PC people love Java because you can mod it.
Yeah.
But it's not optimized, so it's harder to run on something like a headset, which is what we want.
Totally. And this speaks to the larger issue that is a common theme every week, which is that the modding scene for VR games is more active and is taking more risks than the first-party VR scene, because Microsoft owns this property. They could put this, I'm not going to say easily, because none of this is easy, but they have the budget to be able to make this available on any one of these platforms, and they haven't yet. We're relying on people doing it themselves, and you can download it in SideQuest.
Hey, I've got a story about someone doing it themselves.
We're trying to get ads on this podcast. I have no idea what angle you're going at this from.
This is not a gross thing.
Okay.
I found this over on Reddit on r/Oculus Quest. User Now on VR posted a video. They say, it looks like Meta has an internal feature on the Quest that allows you to pin app windows to your view/head, and it even works inside immersive apps as well. I hope they release this very soon. It should have been there since day one. So I'm playing a video to Dial right now. So basically there's a little pin icon on all of the windows that you get when you open up your Quest menu. And when he hits that pin, where he turns his head, the menu will float over to be in front of them again.
It's like someone passively aggressively trying to like maintain your attention, but like, hey, but I'm also over here.
Yeah. But I want this because, like, let's just say theoretically I was going for a walk in VR.
Yep.
So let's say I walk down the stairs of my house and over to the kitchen, get something to eat, and then walk over to the couch. It would be great to have YouTube just floating in my line of sight, but not, I can move it out of my way to where I want it, but then it will stay there and always float in front of me where I want it.
It sounds like something that's against the terms of service of the headset.
For safety reasons.
Yeah, totally. Can you put your Quest 3 on right now and search for this button?
I literally tried it just before the podcast. I couldn't find it.
Interesting.
He doesn't know, or they don't know how it happened.
Yeah.
And they don't know if it's a feature or a bug.
That's cool.
But they do say, someone says, I hope it's not just a glitch. And this person said, it's a dedicated button to activate, which means it's more likely an internal feature. The glitch is the fact that I can use it.
Yeah, totally. That's what it sounds like. It's too well an implemented feature as I'm looking at it on the screen. It's like that looks like something that's been very intentionally put in. So I don't think you would accidentally get a glitch that creates that.
Users are reporting that they're finding it hard to open apps in the Oculus Go. Do you remember the Oculus Go?
I don't remember buying it. I remember it coming out.
Okay, so the Oculus Go was a 3 Degrees of Freedom VR headset. Basically, It was a mobile phone strapped to your face. It was like the old Google Cardboard.
Interesting.
It was just a VR headset. It had a controller that was just one hand remote. You didn't have two
Yeah,
controllers.
it looked like something you'd open your garage with. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. It was a clicker.
Yep.
And it was mainly designed for you to watch YouTube and movies and that kind of thing, browse the web. It was pretty casual.
YouTube.
Okay. I've seen interviews from higher-ups from Meta in the past be like, yeah, look, this was a learning experience. We found people would buy the headset and then almost immediately drop off because it was so shallow.
Yeah, interesting. It's like they put the thing on, they use it for 2 seconds, and it's like, oh boy.
Yeah. But in hindsight, now that I've got the Quest 3,
Yeah.
I use it for media a lot more.
Interesting.
And the reason is because it has pass-through. So if you had an Oculus Go with pass-through, I might use it quite a lot. It would basically be what people imagine, like VR glasses will be in the future. But anyway, that we're all getting sidetracked.
Sorry, can you find the price point, the OG price point of the Go?
I'm gonna go buy Oculus Go.
Well, I'm gonna eBay.
When it was announced, it said it would sell for $199, which is what
steep.
the current Quest 2 I think is selling.
Yeah,
for.
Matt, look at the differences in terms of that.
Yeah,
know,
it's
although-
bigger and worse.
I know. I want to know if it was selling at a loss as well. Because that's what the Quest 2 seems to be
It was
doing.
pretty bare bones. I don't
Sure,
think it was.
sure.
But basically, I could get all the info up. But basically, there is an error that's popping up, and it's affecting people opening apps within the Oculus Go. It seems to be a server-side error.
Yep.
But it doesn't really matter because it's basically bricking the device for people. And
sucks.
one person complained about it, and then a bunch of people came forward and were like, yeah, it's happening to me too.
Wow.
So this looks like the end of the Oculus Go.
It'll probably come back up with someone like modding it, like physically modding the hardware at some point. And
Do you think if it was called the Quest Go, it would still have support?
if it was called the Meta Go?
Yeah, but it's that Oculus name. Meta
Yeah.
really
Oh man,
hates that.
Oculus, such a disgusting and non-VR related name. Why would they ever keep that? That's probably what didn't sell it.
Yeah, they hate that name. I don't know why. Apple have won 56 patents. And I feel like this is always a really cool headline, but then patents turn out to be like one little tiny sentence from a whole feature of things.
And
So
you
it's
keep
less-
saying win, they've won these patents.
Yeah, so
Patents.
this is
if
from-
I buy a coffee, do I win the
You know,
coffee?
you know what? Let's not get
right, sure, sure,
information
Yep,
from me.
yep,
Let's
yep.
get it from let's get it from patentlyapple.com.
Ooh.
I feel like they would know.
Okay.
Okay, so this is Apple won 56 utility patents today covering a future Vision Pro headset with variable adjustment mechanisms and more. So they go on to go over all of the patents. It is so boring. Look how many words there are on this.
lots of
This
words.
is insane. But basically, it's a device that goes in front of the Apple Vision Pro and it can adjust the fit of the Apple Vision Pro to the user. So imagine basically a cushion in front of your face that seals the gap between the headset and your face so there's absolutely no light leak.
Interesting.
So you know how you were just saying whenever you're talking to your dog, you look through the little gap in the Quest
The
2.
nose gap is a very functional hole. Thank you.
Yeah, it's because you don't have pass-through.
No,
but
well,
I do have pass-through.
I do.
And so does the Apple Vision Pro.
Okay.
But this basically will make a perfect seal around the headset and your face, so there's absolutely no light leak to give it a more immersive experience.
Interesting. You said light seal before. I'm like, is that like a light, as in it's like a mild seal around your face,
it's
or
not a heavy
is it
seal.
it's a light seal?
No, it's light.
Interesting. I want to put a 3D printable face hugger like attachment on this thing as it like sucks around my head and just like simulate this thing that
Oh,
they're
that'd be
grabbing on.
good. Instead of a head strap, it's a face hugger.
Yeah, totally. And you got way more axes of strap at the back to bind it.
The chances of this coming to the Apple Vision Pro are 0. It might be shown in an Apple Vision Pro 2, or Apple just thought of it and wanted to get it so no one else has it. Who knows?
Sure.
But I will say, the big screen headset, they get you to get an Apple phone with the LiDAR, scan your face, send it to them, and then they will 3D print out a mold that clips onto your big screen headset, and it will perfectly fit your face, so there is no light leak.
Interesting. feel like I'd sweat in that a bunch.
Yeah, I've seen some reviews. Some people have had issues with the printing of this.
Yep.
So a lot of people don't have iPhones. So they have to like ask their neighbor or their friend, can I borrow your phone so I can scan my face?
We live in the future, don't we?
Yeah.
Can I buy your pocket scanner and scan my face so I can wear a fucking virtual headset?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I think I saw Linus Tech Tips. He had an issue where the print wasn't correct. I could be thinking of a different review, but the print wasn't correct, and they had to get another print made and sent to them.
Okay.
And the other issue with Big Screen's approach is if I have a 3D print for me, it perfectly fits the mold of my face, so there's no light leak.
Yep.
But then I can't just hand it over
No,
to you.
you can't. And that was one of the biggest selling points of the Quest to me, was that you handed me the headset.
It just works straight away. Well, yeah, I mean, this Apple Vision Pro patent, basically, it's taking what works with the Quest and the AVP right now and what Big Screen is doing and making this new version that basically is dynamically fitting to people. Hey, while we're on the AVP, Demio is going to Apple Vision Pro. It's a very popular tabletop RPG. You roll dice, and it's fun. Everybody loves it.
Is that the one that they were advertising when the Quest 3 was coming out?
Oh my god, no, not that. You're talking about Asgard's Wrath 2, right?
No, that's a VR game. I'm talking about a tabletop D&D looking thing where it's on your coffee table and you're playing. Yeah, cool.
Well, it's good to see games coming to Apple Vision Pro because let's be real, I'm not buying Apple stuff mainly because I can't game on it.
Wait, so you're not buying Marvel's What If, the experience for the Apple Vision Pro? You're not going to buy that and play that for hours? You don't?
I don't have that on my list.
That's the biggest news of the week.
We'll talk about that right now. So the trailer for the new What If exclusive title for the Apple Vision Pro, the trailer dropped this week. I got you to watch it, and it was everything we were worried it would be.
Everything we hoped for by hearing about this. ILMX have been making experiences for Disney now for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And every time they make an experience, boy, does it nail the term experience. Because you go in and you have about like 15 seconds of gameplay that's extruded over the course of maybe half an hour.
Yeah.
And everything kind of looks a little bit lame and doesn't play very well.
Yeah. Basically, it feels like they're games made for people that have never been in VR before.
Yeah, like the elderly.
Like they're
or small children.
introducing what VR is.
Yeah, totally.
They're more like amusement park rides where you're standing in a room and you're watching a screen of a thing.
Baby's first VR.
Yeah. Well, if you're more experienced at
this
VR...
podcast brought to you by ILMX. Buy their new games coming to this platform.
Subscribe to Disney+.
Yeah.
Another cool article I saw, it was over on newscientist.com. What?
That image is just bloody hilarious.
Oh, yeah. It's someone wearing a Quest... Which one's that one? The Quest 2? What's that one? What's it called? The Vive 2?
Vive
Pro?
That's the Vive Pro 2. The Vive Pro?
Anyway, they look... It's
the blue one. It's the Vive. That's the blue one. It's got the two things on the front.
It's someone driving a... they're driving a car in a Vive.
Yeah.
It looks ridiculous. Yeah. But basically, these people have done some research and they've developed a system that puts a 360 camera on the car. And then when you look to your left, like let's just say you look directly to your left 90 degrees, it will actually magnify your turning radius all the way around. So the video that they've released in this research, which links are below, the video shows the person looking to their left and they're actually seeing all the way around behind them out the back of the car's window to see cars behind them. And then they look back forward. So they're getting a 360 turning
every time they turn their head 45 degrees, it actually turns 90 degrees in the headset view.
So it dynamically ramps up. So you turn your head a little bit, it'll look out your left window. Yeah. If you turn your head all the way to the left, it'll actually look out the back window.
I was telling you before the podcast, I inadvertently do this quite a lot with snap turning in VR, where when I go to look right, I'll just automatically turn right with the controller, and then that extends my turn radius.
And now that you say it, I do that too. I'll look to the left and turn.
Yeah.
Where this is doing that. Now, the chances of this ever being used in a car, I will say, are almost zero. I don't know about America, but in Australia, just any digitized viewing thing, Australia is like, no, thank you, because it can fail.
Oh, totally. Well, like at this point, if you look at your phone for too long, you're looking at pretty bad fines here as well.
But what I would say is I can see this being used in certain industry situations where you might be using heavy machinery and you need to be able to see a large area that you're working with. And this would be a great way of making it easier for you to see your surroundings.
I imagine, like, I've never used one of those VR drone steering apparatuses, but I feel like this could help that. A couple of weeks ago, I was telling you about how they were experimenting with tanks and VR drivers, where they had a bunch of cameras around the tanks, and then that was viewable by the driver wearing a headset, and it was as if they were sitting in a transparent tank, and they were looking around and being able to see essentially through the walls. If a dude driving a tank needs to look at a dude that's behind the tank, and all he has to do is like look over his shoulder, especially if that person is wearing a lot of gear. And they don't actually have that full turn radius, that would be kind of cool. So maybe the military has use for this.
Yeah, it's nice to see a group of developers making it easier to murder people in Battlegrounds.
Well, that's what I'd do, at least. So.
Woo! Hey, I got a story here, but you told me I'm not allowed to talk about it. So I'll just read it and then you talk about it.
All right.
Hellblade 2 has released. And
hey, this is my story. Hellblade 2 has released, and it doesn't have VR this time round, but the first one did. But it does have VR because you have the Unreal Engine injector. You can very easily turn this into a VR-supported game by running the Unreal injector and then attaching it to the main character model.
And now someone's made a profile already.
Yes, so you can access this profile either on the Flat to VR Discord, or you can go to, what is it? It's unrealprofiles.com. We linked it some other place.
Yeah, you Google it.
I'll Google it.
You Google it now so we know the website. But basically, this website has every game that's compatible with the Unreal injector, and then you download a profile. And basically what these profiles do is it tells the injector what are the controls for moving forward and backward? Where is the camera? What things are interactable, and it makes it so that the VR experience is as seamless as a real VR experience as possible.
Yeah, ish. It doesn't change the controls. You have to do that through Steam. So what it does, it's like if there's an object inside the game that needs to have a controller or the headset attached to it, that's what you do with the profile. Yep. It means you don't have to. And if you can download the profile, it means you don't have to scroll through every game, look for those objects, and do it manually. What I've heard about this game in particular is that it's quite heavy on the graphical side, so people using the Unreal Engine injector to achieve the VR mod, essentially, unless you have a beefy PC, you might be struggling with this. I don't think it will run as well as Hellblade VR native did with the first release.
But I've seen video on Reddit and it looks phenomenal.
Looks amazing. I think this is also it's a third-person game.
Yeah.
So when you're attaching the camera to a third-person model, sometimes the camera wants to behave like it's a third-person game,
right,
but you're looking at it from a first-person perspective.
Right.
But I'm saying that as someone that hasn't played the game. So.
I'm keen to, but I don't really have the PC. I feel like that could run it. But,
what was really cool about the first game is that it had spatial audio, and this chick has like schizophrenia, so you're hearing.
So people are whispering at the back of your neck,
but you can hear it in a 360-degree format. I don't know if that's achievable with the Unreal Engine injector. And that makes a big difference for me when I'm playing those kinds of games, is that I can tell that this is not a 3D game, or not a VR game, because I'm only hearing in stereo.
Do you think, like long term, the Unreal injector might be doing more harm than good, in that the people for Hellblade 2 have gone, do we put dev hours into adding VR support, or do we just let modders add it for free?
In the long run, this is making it more likely for developers to see VR mods of games that they did not expect would work in VR. I think that alone means it's not damaging.
Yeah. But long story short, I said this last week, and I said it the week before, I'm all for more third-person VR titles. That's exciting to me, because it's something that I don't get with my current VR games. They're all first-person.
Yeah.
I like the idea of playing a premium PC game, but getting a more VR cinematic feeling experience.
Sure.
Really quickly, I want to talk about the hackathon. We'll talk about this maybe next week once the winner's announced.
Sure.
But mixed-news.com has an article just talking about all of the submissions for the MetaQuest Presence Platform Hackathon for 2024. So the hackathon is organised by Meta. Developers had until May 13th to submit projects, and according to the DevPost website, they had 182 apps that were submitted. The focus was on mixed reality, meaning that submissions needed to have at least one MR capability as well as one Presence SDK feature. So I'm just going to go through a bunch real quick. I haven't had a proper look at this because I'm kind of just waiting to see what the winner is, but I thought I would just bring it up now. So if you're interested, go over to mixednews.com and have a look at these, because they all have YouTube videos you can check out. The first one they talk about is Flavor. It's an AI-powered cooking assistant that suggests recipes based on a photo or description of existing food. So basically, you put on your headset, you could like put the ingredients in front of you or open your fridge and be like, give me some recipes, and it'll make a recipe. It's ChatGPT stuff, but virtual reality. It's your headset's on the whole time, so this one has a little grandma avatar.
Damn, grandma avatars. Wasted opportunity, by the way, to be called Flavor VR at the end.
Flavor, like VR. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
They're always adding VR
totally.
to
It's
stuff
like
that doesn't
it's
need
in the
it.
name.
The next one's Easy Origami. It teaches you origami techniques step by step. It's like a piece of paper in front of you, and you follow it along to create VR. I like something like that. You could use that for teaching people how to tie ties.
I would definitely use that.
A lot of people watch YouTube videos on the day of a wedding because they're going to a wedding or a funeral and they don't know how to tie a tie. But
I spent like 50 minutes in the mirror during my just before my school formal.
It's stressful if you don't know how to do it. It's stressful.
Totally.
Flux is a mixed reality robotics lab for tinkerers where you can write Arduino code, connect electrical components, and simulate circuits and prototype robotics projects.
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Exhibition, you got one. It's the XR instead of VR.
I changed my mind. This is awful. They've got XR in the middle of a word. I meant to read this.
They say turn your living room into an art gallery with this mixed reality app. Orbital Beats sounds kind of cool. Orbital Beats lets you create floating spheres of sound, kind of like have you ever heard the tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Oh, they're watching the opera, right?
That space opera. This is this. So you've got spheres of sound. By manipulating these orbs in physical space, you can create different effects, compose music dynamically in mixed reality. I don't think they did this on purpose, but they made Star Wars spheres.
They did.
There's a whole bunch of entries, like I said, 183. Mixed Reality has a good write-up going over each one, and then video links to all of them.
Yep.
So if you want to check it out, go to that website. But next week we'll talk about whoever wins.
I hope it's the flavor people, just so Meta buys them and puts VR in the title.
Virtual reality granny telling you how to.
Yeah.
But did you see Google's Gemini AI recently?
Putting glue in pizza?
It put glue in pizza to make it, was it, stickier? What were they trying to do?
Make it more viscous or something. I don't know what it was.
Yeah. And then somebody online managed to find the original Reddit post where somebody basically was making a joke post talking about putting 1/8 of a cup of glue into their pizza mix to make it.
So the sarcasm filter fucked up. That's
basically, and Gemini's read this as fact and now is telling people to add glue to their pizzas.
Oh my God.
Now, I find a lot of these stories online, and if it's something that you need context for, I'll show you the video, I'll show you the article beforehand so you can get a good understanding of it. But I felt like this one would be better you going in cold.
I'm tentatively nervous.
Okay, so this is on hackster.io. This was a post on Reddit that got me here, so whoever posted that, thank you very much. By using transcranial magnetic stimulation, researchers have created a VR... Oh, he's cringing already. He hasn't made it all the way through. Are you okay?
I'm fine. Keep going.
Okay. By using transcranial magnetic stimulation, researchers have created a VR headset that can produce haptic sensations anywhere in the body. They have this photo of a lady wearing a Quest 2. And
spoilers for Breaking Bad, when Ted Beneke fell over and he had to get that the head brace. That's what this looks like. It's like a head
it looks
brace.
like someone who's broken their neck and they
totally.
have like wires and pipes. So basically, it's a Quest 2 with a whole bunch of pipes and contraptions and counterbalances on top of the head and in front of the head and behind the head.
It looks real heavy.
It does, but then the second photo shows her doing an Iron Man palm blast.
Yep.
And she's feeling the palm blast, like she's actually doing it. And then photo C, can you see photo C? What would you describe that as?
Broken foot.
Somebody breaking their ankle and
oh my
feeling
goodness.
it. It's like they've broken their ankle and they can feel it. And then this one,
when you die in the Matrix, you die in real life.
Yeah,
that's what I'm hearing.
We're finally bringing it to. They show it with the hand, hurting their hand.
That looks like she stepped on a Lego.
Somebody dislocating their jaw.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I like that. It's like they've got a generic symbol. We're just talking about visual shit in an audio podcast.
I know.
God damn it. Yeah.
Well, you can get this
Is
link
there
in the
brain
description.
interaction with this?
Okay, so
you said transcranial. That makes me nervous.
Transcranial. This is a full body thing, but it's only mounted on your head.
Interesting.
The creative geniuses at the University of Chicago have once again created a mind-blowing, hopefully not literally, haptic interface that may ultimately move the field forward. Called Haptic Source Effector, the wearable system is composed of a single haptic device that directly stimulates the user's brain to produce haptic sensations anywhere in the body. They do this via magnetic stimulation, which is non-invasive.
I swear. I
And
swear it's not.
And according to the researchers, safe for human use.
I don't know. If you're including that in the advertisement, that makes me nervous.
So basically, like I said in the headlines, you strap an MRI to your head, and then it shoots magnetic waves at your brain to make you feel like you're feeling things on your hands or your feet or your gut.
I forgot to mention this when you mentioned the LG cornea burning LEDs a couple of weeks back, but like the distance that we have traveled from the point where my grandma's saying, don't go too close to the TV because your eyes will turn square, and a dystopian future where everything is that, that's closed in such a short period of time. That's crazy.
Yeah, so first of all, this is terrifying.
I bet they're looking at that Elon Musk project with the brain stuff, and they're getting real nervous every time that fails, because like everyone's going to pull the money out of this, right? I guess it's not invasive. They're not tickling your brain matter.
It's not invasive.
Yeah, that's well. Look, if people want to do that, they can do that. I'm not gonna
so looking ahead, the team is planning to improve the mechanics of their system and reduce both size and weight to make it more practical. They're also considering ways that might be able to focus the haptic effects on smaller areas of the body. So basically, higher resolution points on your body that you feel feedback. That's so terrifying.
Oh, I guess.
There is just one last line before we move on. It says, for those with medical implants, it could cause dangerous interference.
Yeah, don't use if you have like a
pacemaker.
A pacemaker, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Or a brain implant.
Hey, do you want to go on to the next segment of the show?
Yeah, sure.
I'm doing a thing in VR and you're doing a thing in VR.
Yes.
Are you doing a thing in VR?
That's the name of the segment. I am doing a thing in VR.
Do you want to talk about your thing or do you want to hear about my
what's
thing?
your thing?
I'm playing Minecraft.
Oh, I don't want to talk about that. Yeah, I'll talk about my thing. Fallout 4 VR. I've been playing that because I watched the show.
I watched the show more in VR than you because I watched the entire Amazon Prime show in VR.
Oh, yeah, wow.
I watched some of it in my bed with lie down mode and some of it on the couch watching my TV, but instead I had my VR in front of me.
That's awesome.
It was
That's
great.
awesome. Yeah, I'd played through the campaign of Fallout 4 VR maybe 6 months ago, just out of nothing to really play. I loaded the shit out of it with mods because the vanilla experience is quite poor, I found. But since watching the show, I wanted to jump back in, and so I started playing the Far Harbor DLC that came out with Fallout 4. That is actually not available in the VR version of the game.
Oh, really?
So I had to port the DLC over from the Fallout 4 files into that to make it work. But it works surprisingly well.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I have I've just been using the Nexus mod manager to like put a bunch of shit in, and I have a nice suite of mods that have made me very satisfied with the game.
This is the most Bethesda thing.
Yeah.
They've made a game.
Yeah.
And you have to add another 2 to 3 hours of work into making the game good.
Yes.
So
It's a
you've went through
DIY.
this huge process. You've basically got it to where you want it to be now, and it's fun.
Yes.
You've just got one last thing you're trying to do.
That's right. I want to bully people in the wasteland. So, or not people, robots, I guess. So yeah, there's a GPT mod called Mantella floating around. It's been on Skyrim now for a couple of months. Essentially, you go up to any random NPC and cast a spell on them, and then they can talk with the aid of GPT or an LLM of your choice, because you can swap it out with different APIs. So that's now come to Fallout 4, and it's great when you see the video. It's a silenced pistol, and you just run up to a dude and shoot him, and he goes, ugh! And then instantly gets like the entire consciousness of like GPT, and he's like... He becomes sentient all of a sudden, and you can ask him questions. I want to be able to walk around with my companion and be just asking them questions along the way.
Yeah.
Or like taunting them, or just being nice to them.
Or just
all
talking to
kinds
them.
of different things.
Yeah.
So, and it seems pretty comprehensive. Apparently they waffle a lot, and when you want to end the conversation, you just say goodbye.
Oh, goodbye.
Yeah. And they say safe travels, and that's how you know that it's stopped the chat interface.
Yeah, cool.
So-
So you tried to get it up and running. It was a bit harder than you thought. Well, there was a bit more robots
Boy,
than
if
you
you thought that the mod organizer 2 thing was hard, this is like level 3. So I'm I'm in the process of figuring out how to install this, and I'll probably have it ready for next week so I can talk about it a little bit more.
All right. Well, let's talk about it next week.
Yeah.
The thing I'm doing in VR is Minecraft. I'm going to set my mind to optimizing it and getting it working well. So I'll also talk about that next week.
Awesome.
That's all the news I got. Have you got any news?
I don't know. I don't think I've got any news.
I'm going to say he has no news.
Hey, don't make assumptions. Yeah, no. Yeah. No, I got no news.
Okay, well, I'm glad I didn't jump to any assumptions.
Hang on. Yeah, definitely no news. All right.
Cool. Thank you, everyone that's been listening. This week, I tried to get all the headlines condensed and up the front so you could hear all of the news, so you can only listen to the first 6 minutes of the podcast and leave if you wanted to. Please give us some feedback. Let us know if that works for you. You can reach us at
gamesvrealitypod@gmail.com.
We would love to hear some feedback. The best way is email or go to our YouTube, because we're posting this podcast on YouTube. Leave a comment. I am reading all the comments, so please reach out to us there. It's at Victor Grey on YouTube.
Tell us when we're wrong.
Yeah, tell us when we're wrong, which I think for this episode might not be that much, maybe?
Well, thankfully, everything that you've announced is like we might do this, so if it's wrong, it's just built in. So.
I mostly just read stuff. It'll be the patent stuff I got wrong.
Yeah, totally.
Cool. All right, is that everything?
I think so.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
No, you're meant to say good day, traveler.
Oh, shit. Happy travels. Wait, hang on. No, goodbye. Goodbye.
I don't know what they say.
I told you 5 minutes ago.
Happy travels, traveler.
Yeah. No, that's... No.
Goodbye.
This sucks.